So starting today, I can announce this government will begin the biggest sustained increase in defence spending since the end of the Cold War. Yeah. We will deliver our commitment to spend 2.5% of GDP on defence, but we will bring it forward so that we reach that level in 2027.
February 2025. The United Kingdom under Prime Minister Keir Starmer has made its move, a seismic shift in defence policy, a war chest swollen by £14 billion a year, the biggest sustained military build-up since the Cold War. Britain's clock has been reset. The 2.5% GDP defence target will hit by 2027, not 2030. But why now? Why this sudden urgency?
The realities of our dangerous new era mean that the defence and national security of our country must always come first.
This isn't just Britain's story. It's a ripple in a titanic geopolitical reckoning, a Europe rattled, an alliance strained, and a storm brewing across the Atlantic. A familiar voice has returned, shaking NATO's foundations once again.
Mr. President, do you still believe in NATO, in the alliance between Europe and America in NATO? Are you going to go to the summit in June?
Very much involved in this. When I first got elected at the very beginning, first term, I got hundreds of billions of dollars put into NATO. NATO had no money because they hadn't paid for years. And I said, look, if you don't pay, and we're not going to be a part of NATO, we're not going to protect, we're not going to do what we're supposed to do. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars into NATO. No, NATO is a good thing if it's done properly and if it's used properly.
Donald Trump, back in the White House since January 20th, 2025, and back on a mission. He's reignited his crusade against NATO's reliance on American firepower. The numbers don't lie. In 2024, the US shelled out $877 billion, two-thirds of NATO's total, while Europe's share lagged far behind. Trump's fix? Pay up or stand alone?
Well, like President Eisenhower, this administration believes in alliances, deeply believes in alliances. But make no mistake, President Trump will not allow anyone to turn Uncle Sam into Uncle Sucker.
For Trump, it's not just dollars, it's intent. Take Ukraine. Europe's allocated 132 billion euros since 2022, much of it as repayable loans. Germany's 8 billion euros for 2024 comes with strings. The US? Over $100 billion in direct aid, mostly grants, no repayment demanded. Trump calls it a sucker's deal, America footing the bill while Europe hedges its bets.
Europe gets their money back. Europe is basically giving nothing because they get it back in the form of a loan, and it's a guaranteed loan. We don't get our money back, and we're losing. I mean, we don't want to do that anymore, so we're signing an agreement, hopefully in the next fairly short period of time, that will assure us that we'll get $400 or $500 billion back. We're in there for $300 billion. Now, one other thing, Europe is at 100, we're at 300. We think it has to equalize.
Europe's heard the warning, and it's scrambling. Since Trump's return, a cascade of pledges has erupted. Lithuania and Estonia vowed 5% of GDP in January. Poland at 4.12% eyes 5% by year's end. Germany's new CDU government under Friedrich Merz is mobilizing a €200 billion defense fund. And now Starmer's Britain joins the fray, pushing past peacetime limits. Trump's thrown down a gauntlet, 5% GDP for NATO, far beyond the 2% of 2014. But what's fueling this frantic escalation?
For centuries, they demanded anything they wanted from their vassals, but now demands are being made of them. So let them sit at home with their demands and think about how they ended up in this situation.
One fear towers above: Vladimir Putin. Russia's war in Ukraine drags into its third year, its forces grinding west. Baltic leaders like Lithuania's Gitanas Nausėda warn Moscow's ambitions don't stop at Kyiv. Poland's 5% budget, Sweden's jump to 2.6%, Estonia's arms buildup. It's not just policy, it's survival. Then there's the other shadow, Trump himself. His first term threatened NATO's end. His second echoes louder. He's ditched the Paris Climate Accord, the WHO. Why not NATO if Europe falters? The cracks are widening. On February 18th, NATO's Mark Rutte admitted 2% isn't enough, floating 3.7%, a nod to Trump's demand.
I tell them, if you do not react to my phone calls, you might get phone calls from a very nice man in Washington who might be less, well, let's say, having less of a time, has more time limit, I guess, on what he wants to achieve. So, if not me, then they might get phone calls from somebody else. We all really have to get to the 2%. That is crucial.
The urgency tracks Trump's return. Lithuania and Estonia in January, Britain in February. Yet Putin's threat predates him. NATO doubled its eastern flank in 2024, before Trump's oath. So which fear drives this? The bear at the gate, or the ally at the exit? Where does this leave us? Europe's rearming at breakneck speed. The UK's £14 billion surge is the latest domino, but not the last. Is it Putin's next strike? Trump's next ultimatum? Perhaps it's both, a continent caught between a resurgent Russia and a restless America, racing to prove it can stand alone.